So we're higher as in taller or like higher up in the food chain.
We have more capacity to think.
So a mentally retarded human being doesn't have the same capacity to think, so that means we should treat them unethically. So why does that apply to animals? Because they're not as intelligent as us.
Let's change the way we eat, let's change the way we live, and let's change the way we treat each other.
What about a pig or a lamb or a cow? They don't have the same moral value as a dog?
I don't think they're worshipping God.
Worshipping.
Like I see a lot of people, and religion doesn't make you a higher being, it just means you have a different thought pattern. And no, I mean, in that same premises, they're finding out that plants can feel pain.
No, they're not. Plants have intelligence but not sentience. They can't feel pain, they don't have a brain or a nervous system. Plants can react to stimuli in their environment. They're intelligent, they're not sentient. Like an animal is sentient. If you punch an animal, kick an animal, they feel pain, they suffer, they remember. A plant, a tree, if you kick that tree, it's not going to feel nothing. It doesn't have a nervous system or a brain. Can't remember, feel, it doesn't have emotion, it's not scared, it doesn't shit, it doesn't want to live, it's just a plant, it's a vegetable. That's why when someone becomes a quadriplegic, what do you call them? They're brain dead in hospital. A vegetable. Animals, however, if you kick a dog, chop a dog's head off, what happens? You go to jail for animal cruelty. A pig is more intelligent than a dog, but we put pigs in positions like this so we can have a sandwich. I don't think it's morally justified. I don't think it's okay. I think that if you put yourself in the animal's position, no justification could warrant that sort of abuse. Even if you treated the pig kindly and then stabbed it in the back of the head, I don't think that would be morally right either. Like if you raised the pig in your backyard and treated it like a family member, and then you lured it out into the shed and bolt gunned it in the head, and then ate its body, I think that would be the ultimate betrayal. Like if that was a friend of yours, a dog, you know what I mean? I just don't think there's any humane way to put animals through this so we can have a moment of taste pleasure on our palate.
I don't necessarily agree with eating them, but I understand it in a way, like byproducts of them, like eggs.
Eggs. Well, the egg industry kills all male baby chicks on their first day of life. They put them through a mincer. If you see on that screen there, all males are put in through a mincer.
That's the thing, I don't agree with that at all.
That's for the egg industry. So there's more cruelty in an egg or a glass of milk. Are you aware of what happens in the dairy industry?
Yes.
The mothers are raped, impregnated, the calves are taken away and killed, and we steal the milk. When the milk production declines, we kill the mother.
Cow's milk is actually awful for human beings.
Well, it's a baby's milk, and we steal it off the baby, and we kill the baby.
It's actually deforming a lot of humans because it's meant for a 500 to 1 kiloton cow. It's actually causing early puberty in children.
It causes prostate and breast cancer too because it's full of hormones. Also causes osteoporosis. It's bad for bones. But there's a lot of negative karma attached to a baby's milk that's been stolen. You know what I mean? Imagine if, put it in the human context. We're raping women to impregnate them, stealing their babies to take their milk, and when killing their babies, eating their babies, like the veal industry only exists because of the dairy industry. So there's a lot more suffering in a glass of milk than in a piece of flesh. So all animal products are inherently cruel. There's no way of eating an animal product that is humane. And that's why we're just trying to educate the public, because people don't know. I didn't know. 3 years ago, I didn't know. I was eating massive T-bones. I didn't care. I didn't know. I didn't understand it. Now I see an animal when I see, another being that deserves equal treatment. Not like the same as us, but at least the right to life, the right to a life without harm, without suffering, without being tortured for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
I think in a way, everyone's going to have different opinions. Like, I mean, no, I'm not going to drive and be like,
not really.
I'm glad.
Everyone has the same opinion that killing an animal, treating an animal like that is wrong. You won't really find many human beings that look at that screen and say, that's okay, unless they're fucked up in their head.
I read an article on the internet about this woman. She was becoming a writer.
Yeah.
And they had to write a fictionary story in their class for her.
Yeah.
And she wrote about a woman being raped. A lot of male students were like, okay, but that doesn't make the guy bad. Like, if you kick the dog, that would be bad. Like,
people hate animal abusers,
yeah.
But they don't realise that by buying a burger, buying a piece of steak from the butcher, you're funding the worst animal abuse on the planet. Supply and demand, it's the consumers that are doing this. They are doing this to supply us with a product. If we stop buying the product, these industries no longer do this to animals. Ethical veganism is different to health. The strongest argument for veganism is that you wouldn't want that done to you, so why should you do it to another animal? I mean, that's our argument, and everyone agrees with that, but no one really applies it in their day-to-day life. They don't realise that the most violent weapon on this planet is your fork and knife, you know, your dinner plate. It's a choice you can make at the supermarket to buy almond milk instead of dairy milk, to buy vegan cheese instead of dairy cheese, to eat rice, potatoes, corn, beans. But yeah, they try to hide this from people. Activists go in there with that illegally to obtain this footage because the industries don't want us to see it, you know. Because no one's going to eat that shit if they know where it comes from. They like to put stickers of like a nice green pasture and free-range eggs and...
But if I don't think about it, I don't have to worry about it. And that's what a lot of people are nowadays.
They're apathetic. They don't apathetic meaning that they're too lazy to change or they just don't care. But I would argue that they do care. I mean, if I sat here and educated someone on the ethical side of veganism and they knew it was wrong, they felt guilty in their stomach and they thought that is wrong, I wouldn't want that treatment, I don't agree with it, and they still went and ate animal products, then I would say that's apathy. What else could you say? Like, they know it's wrong, but they're just too lazy to change. I mean, I knew about this for a while before I changed, but I mean, I sort of knew it was hypocritical to say that you're an animal lover, but, you know, ate them, killed them and ate their bodies. Like, I knew that was hypocritical. I mean, it's just, you just can't, it's not possible. You can't love animals and kill them and eat them. It's just, if someone loved me like that, I wouldn't want to be their friend, you know. I mean, 91% of Amazon deforestation is to grow soybeans to feed to livestock. 51% of greenhouse gas emissions from animal agriculture. Most of the fresh water usage. So it's destroying the planet, it's killing the animals and it's giving us cancer. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity. Animal products are killing us, they're killing the animals and they're killing the planet, and it's all a big wheel of karma. When you pull away from the animal products and you sort of see it for what it is, you start to really wake up and see it everywhere. That's a gas chamber. They have these in Murray Bridge.
What do they use that for?
Gassing the pigs. That's the most humane method, they reckon. And the pigs burn from the inside out because it forms carbonic acid inside their body where it's all moist, and so they're burning from the inside out in their last seconds. And that's the most humane method, lowered into a gas chamber. And they're scared, they don't want to go in there. They have to prod them with electrical prods to get them in there because they know what's going on. Their friends go in before them, they can hear them scream, you know, horrible. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, we treat pedophiles and murderers better than we treat the most innocent beings on this planet. Pedophiles and murderers, they get a nice, you know, hotel room, food, they get looked after. Pedophiles are protected in our corrections facilities, they're protected.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Pigs and chickens and stuff, who've done nothing wrong, except be born a pig or a chicken, they get treated like that. So we can have a sandwich, that's all. There's no biological need, there's no need to eat animal flesh at all.
What about protein?
Been vegan for 3 years, dude. The protein thing is a myth. I'll put it this way, the most protein you ever needed in your entire life was when you were a baby and you grew into a toddler, all right? And human mother's breast milk is 5% calories protein, all right? You'll never need any more protein than growing from a baby to a toddler. That's the biggest growth spurt you ever have. And human mother's breast milk, 5% calories from protein. Most plant foods are 8% calories from protein. The protein myth is perpetuated by the meat and dairy industries. Remember, they're the most powerful industries on the planet. They've got more money than the oil industry. You know how much money they fund into advertising, into the health system. They're in education department, telling kids what to eat in their schools. Drink milk, it's good for your bones. They've got their fingers in every pie.
They're doing the opposite now. They've got a lot of schools that are saying milk is unhealthy, pasta's not healthy.
Tell me one school that does it. I want to check them out, because all hospitals they'll be like, put butter in eggs and ice cream, and you know, like a cancer patient, they'll be asking them to put more dairy in their food, more butter, more ice cream. Like, it's disgusting. And dairy contributes to cancer because it's full of hormones. It grows cancer cells. That's not really the argument we want to make. Like, we're just trying to plead with people to stop putting animals through that for something as trivial as a burger. Like, get vegan burgers, killer ones in Adelaide. There's heaps of vegan places here.
The only people I've seen that I can truly stand behind and say, yep, I can understand why you're eating animals, is people who eat roadkill, and they're so rare and far between.
Roadkill, I would say, is the only ethical exception. But then, like, who does that? Who goes out and scrapes a dead kangaroo off the road and eats it? Like, no one. I've never met someone who does that.
There are other meats. They're starting to look into stem cell meat. Like, really actually made a video about it.
Super meat's the only one, and they haven't started doing it yet, but that other lab-grown meats, they still exploit animals, they still use cow serum, but super meat's the only one. They're going to take one biopsy from a chicken and grow an infinite amount of meat from one biopsy, and they're not going to harm the chicken. But as of now, lab-grown meat isn't ethical, but there's only that one super meat brand. That's for people like meat eaters that aren't going to stop. They aren't going to stop no matter what. I think if we show enough people how their food is produced, you know, and you look at your sandwich and you go, yeah, that's what happened to get that.
For the longest time, actually, I just didn't eat meat. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's like stand here and be like, yeah, I never eat meat, because I do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I have watched Freely for years, and I do know what happens. And it's not that I'm apathetic, but it's that I feel for it. Like, if I knew where to find like okay meat that wasn't harming animals,
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because the very fact that the animal's dead and chopped up into pieces, it has been harmed, it has been abused, it has been used for its body, treated like a slave, treated like a property so we could eat it. You know, there is no ethical meat. It doesn't exist. Humane meat is a lie. Humane milk is a lie. Humane eggs are a lie. Free-range eggs, just as cruel as any other egg. It's just they give them a bigger space to walk around in before they torture them, kill their babies. You know, these animals, they can't speak up for themselves. What would you think they would say to you?
Don't eat meat.
What would you say if you were an animal and I was about to bolt gun you in the head so someone could eat you?
So I don't think I'd ever fully stop eating animal byproducts, but I don't.
Why not?
I do like things like honey and eggs, and I don't, but in a simultaneous way, I don't agree in how it's done. Like, I believe I'd rather have a chicken in my backyard, know it's laying eggs and it's being treated well, than buy them from the shops in dozens where they go, it's a free-range chicken, and then you go and you see, okay, it's got a meter of space. That's not enough for a fish, let alone a chicken.
And they kill all the male babies as well.
Yeah.
And they enslave the mothers.
Yeah.
And we use them for their bodies for something we don't even need. And there's more cholesterol in an egg than there is in a Big Mac. I mean, they cause heart disease, they're killing people. Eggs are just horrible for health. The thing is, you have to sort of weigh it up in your mind. Does 1 minute of palate pleasure on my tongue, is it worth a lifetime of suffering for a chicken? Do you know? And like, you can live perfectly well without eggs. I think that it's hard to make that leap in your mind because you're so used to eating animal products and you're just like, what do I eat? But like, the longer you're vegan, you'll see there's more vegan options than there is. Like, think about meat, dairy, eggs. There's like this amount of animals to eat, there's this amount of byproducts. Vegan stuff, most food is vegan. All plants, beautiful plant foods, beautiful alternatives. We've got vegan ice cream. There's nothing you miss out on. There's nothing that you miss out on. We've got vegan egg now.
The other thing that puts me off, and as bad as it sounds, I would rather eat an animal product, is because I actually went to pick up vegan cheese. I'm actually lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And the list of shit in it was like, I'm not even going to fucking try.
Well, you know, cow's cheese has actual shit in it. It's contaminated with fecal matter. Like, all animal products are contaminated with feces because they shit all over each other. Okay, and milk, cow's milk, has a pus in it. You know, it's a lot of pus. There's I think there's 600,000 units of pus allowed per cc of milk in Australia. So, vegan cheese will be made of coconut oil, and it's a processed food. It's a processed vegan food. You don't have to eat vegan cheese, but it's a better alternative than what is in a cow's milk. There's all these hormones in cow's milk, pus, there's all the chemicals, all the pesticides, and suffering, death and violence, kidnap. They take a child away from its mother. Like 5 days old, the cow gets ripped away from its mother. It's one of the cruelest things we do in the animal products industry is take a calf away from its mother to steal its milk. I mean, there's a few additives in some vegan cheese. It's just like you weigh it up, you know. It's something that only you can weigh up in your mind. It's just like, I'll put it to you, this is an analogy I like to use. If a rapist gets pleasure out of raping a woman and he doesn't want to stop because it feels good to him, is that a justification for the rape? Why? Because there's a victim involved. Okay, now anything that you would say about, you know, I like vegan cheese, I don't like vegan cheese, is that a justification for kidnap and murder and the rape of a mother? You know what I'm saying? So that's how you weigh it up. That's how I weighed it up. And I was just like, well, I like meat, I like eggs, I love cheese. I put cheese on everything. I had kilos of cheese. I was the cheese man, but I weighed it up. That's what morality is. That's what ethics are. You say, okay, oh man, he pissed me off. I'd love to go punch his face in, but you know, it's not the right thing to do. I'll do the right. You know what I mean? Like these things in your heart, you know, are wrong. But you're making the first step. You're obviously interested in it. You're sitting here, you're talking to me. It's a lot of people, they don't want to spend 30 seconds, a minute talking about it, but
I do try and change my life, and like I think there's a chance one day I will go vegan, and there's a chance that I may never go vegan. But I'd rather know about it and make that choice in my mind than say, nah, I just don't want to know. It's because like
at least you're willing to face the truth.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people make decisions out of ignorance. They don't investigate. They condemn something before even finding out about it. They're just like, no, that's all bullshit. But you know, at least you're willing to face the animals and then say, okay, this is what happens to them. You know, and do a bit of research and say, okay, am I still going to consume it after knowing all of that? And that's just something that's a choice you have to make in your own heart. That's not from, I can educate you on it. I can say this is what happens, but it's up to you to make that choice. I mean, I can't force anyone to do anything. I mean, I can only just plead with them and say this is how the animals feel. This is what they go through, you know?
I know that there are people that will never go vegan, and there will be people that in fact might see this and think, you know what, just to spite you, I'm going to go out and eat that meat.
Yeah.
I think
they're not who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach people like you who actually have a heart, conscience, and have, you know, you're nearly there.
Yeah.
You're nearly there. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I was there too, at the same stage you're at. So
I think, although I can't give you a definitive answer. Yes, I'll definitely go vegan after this.
that's up.
I can tell you honestly with the whole heart, like I don't condemn the shit that goes on. Like I'm not someone that will stand there and be like, pig, who cares?
Yeah.
Like cow. I think there are a lot more humane ways of doing stuff if you're going to do it. I don't think
there's more humane ways to rape a woman as well, but the act of rape will never be humane. No matter how nice you treat a lady, if you give her a date rape drug and you treat her really nicely, the act of rape is evil. The act of murder is always evil, no matter how nicely I kill my mother in her sleep with a pillow. I made her dinner that night. The act of taking a life is morally...
life-taking bit, I don't think there's a humane way for that, to be completely honest.
Exactly. Well, because otherwise, if you agree that there's a humane way to take a pig's life, then you would agree that there's also a humane way to take your life. But otherwise it would be a double standard. And otherwise we would be hypocrites.